Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Hadidi Makeovers. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. If you're a returning subscriber, hit the notification bell. So for today we are going to be doing a makeup video that you don't have to use a cream contour to highlight. We are going to be doing the highlight with powder. So you guys stay tuned and watch this video to the end. Okay, so I know I promised you guys we are going to be doing the brushes video. So something came up. I was supposed to film the video this week, but my camera had an issue, and I decided to just post this video first. I told you guys I don't have a mic. I ended up getting a microphone for the camera, but the camera and the microphone is not compatible. I don't know what happened, but I think I need to change my camera first before I start appearing officially to do videos like that. And yeah, so you guys should pardon me, and I'm very, very sorry for that. So let's jump right into the video. So this video is all about doing highlights without contouring, without sorry, this video is about highlighting without cream highlights. We are not going to be using a cream concealer. We are not going to be using cream. Sure, I'll be doing powder highlights, powder contour, and also showing you guys the use of a translucent powder. I know you guys have bought maybe if you guys have a powder palette that has this white powder on it, or if you have a translucent powder, a loose translucent powder, there's this RCMA powder. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm going to be using the Khalifa powder palette to do the video for today's makeup, to show you guys how to use that white powder on your powder palette. So you guys will not be wondering. My students have asked me a lot of times that how do you use this powder. Some people will call me, some of them will send me a DM and they'll be like, this white powder on the Khalifa powder palette, how do you use it? I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this today. You guys should just stay tuned, and we move. So starting off, I already cleaned her face using the micellar cleansing water. I drew her brows using the Davis brow pencil. I had to use the brow tint to tint her brows, like to keep the brows in place, to tame the brows rather. Yeah, and so I used the Ferrarucci concealer, the very light shade on the brow bone. So for this look, I'm going to be doing the eyes first before we do the skin. I want you guys to understand how the cream highlight works. So okay, so I am going to be using the Mood Beauty eyeshadow palette to do her eyes. I told you guys for this makeup look, I'm going to be doing the eyes first before I move on to doing the skin work. So as you can see, I'm using the Arusha Beauty palette, like the Mood Beauty eyeshadow palette, but is in Arusha. The name of this palette is Arusha, I think. Yeah, Aruba, no, it's Arusha. So I'm going to be using a dark brown shade first and then I'll be softening the edges using the burnt orange color. Then I'm going to be blending that out. I'll have to use the Zikel Cosmetics because I need a lighter orange shade. I'll be using the Zikel Cosmetics eyeshadow palette, the Leader Stanley eyeshadow palette. I'll be using that to soften the eye makeup. So moving on, I'm going to be contouring very well. I want to make sure the eyes are well blended. Then I'll be highlighting her brow bone. So highlighting her brow bone, you have to be very careful when you're doing that. You don't want to use too much powder. Normally when I'm highlighting the brow bone, some people tend to use an eyeshadow that looks like the person's shade of brow bone, but I don't do that. I use powder, a lighter shade of powder, to set the brow bone. So I'm going to be getting my concealer, the Benai concealer eye primer, Benai Clown White eye primer. I'm going to be cutting her crease. When you're cutting the crease, you want to make sure you trace. If she closes her eyes, you want to make sure you trace where the eyeball stops. Like if the eyes are closed, you don't want to trace that normal line on her crease. You want to make sure she closes. If she closes her eyes, you trace the eyeballs first, and then you cut where the eyeball stops. That is how you cut the crease. So after I'm done with the eye primer, I'm going to be going in with this rose gold eyeshadow from the Lydia Stanley palette, eyeshadow palette. I'm going to be using a rose gold, using a small pointy brush just to get into the corners of her eyes. And then I'll be using a fuller brush for the green eyeshadow. I told you guys I'll be doing 2 shades of eyeshadow. And I want you guys to consider something. Whenever you're doing your eyeshadow, you want to make sure the colors come like you want to make sure they are arranged. Like from the inner part of the eyes, you want to use the lightest color. Then you move on like that till you get to the darkest shade. Even though you're doing eyeshadows that are like even though you're doing eyeshadows more than 2-3 eyeshadow shades, you want to make sure you start with the lightest color. So as you can see, the rose gold is the lightest color, followed by the green, and then I'm using the brown to contour. You want to make sure it goes like that: light, lighter, lightest if you're coming from the back. If you're starting from the inner part of the eyes, dark, darker, darkest. You want the eyes to be well arranged like that, like the eye colors to be arranged like that, because you want to make sure the inner part is highlighted while the outer part is contoured. That is the secret behind the eye makeup. I told you guys to watch my videos to the end, so this is another tip for today. In the Luster Cosmetic pigment, this is how I do it. I'm going to be spraying my mixing tray, and then just sprinkle the pigment on it a little bit, not too much. You just want to just touch. You know, the pigment, no matter how small it is, it goes a long way. So I'm going to be I'm just going to be touching the pigment a little bit, and then placing it where it's supposed to be. So as you can see, I used 2 eyeshadow colors. I'll just be placing each color on where it's supposed to be. That is how you do it, but you make sure you blend. If it's in between the 2 shades, I'm going to be applying the 2 shades there. I'll just be touching it one by one. I'm using the green pigment from Luster Cosmetics in European, and then I'm using Milky Way for the inner part of the eyes. Applying the mascara. After I'm done with the pigment, I'm going to be applying the mascara. After I apply the mascara, I'm going to be going in with the wing eyelashes in Wishes. The name of this eyelashes is Wishes, like it's from the Wing Eyelashes Nigeria. I'm going to be using Wishes. Can you see how gorgeous our eyes are looking? So we are going to be doing the other eyes now, and then boom, we move to the skin. So guys, do you like the way it looks? So for you to clean the face, the eyeshadow fallout, you know, for this technique of makeup, doing the eyes before the skin, the eyeshadow or the pigment is going to be sticking, it's going to stick to the skin. You want to make sure you use micellar water for that, for the cleaning of the face. You don't want to hurt her with too much cleaning, so this is where the micellar water comes in handy. If you do this, you're going to be saving a lot of time from cleaning the face, and the face is not going to get red or numb or anything like that. We are going to move on. I'm going to be using the Cetaphil moisturizer on her face. So after using the Cetaphil moisturizer, I'm going to be doing the upper part of her brows, using the eyeshadow, using the concealer from Fawn, the LA Girl concealer in Fawn. I'll be using that to clean the upper part of her brows. So going in with the foundation, I'm going to be using this foundation in Mango. I'll be using that all over her face. You want to make sure you blend that out smoothly. So guys, I already told you guys, if you're doing the skin work and you want to do a powder highlight, like now, normally when I'm doing the powder highlight, I don't normally do the powder highlight when I'm in a hurry, or if the person doesn't want too much foundation on her skin, or if she has wrinkles. You know, you want to avoid too much foundation or any creamy stuff on someone's face that has too much lines or wrinkles. I'm not saying my model here has wrinkles, I'm just showing you guys how to deal with that. Maybe if you're dealing with a very elderly person, an older person, that is what I do normally. If I am doing makeup on an elderly person, I make sure I do a powder highlight or powder contour. I don't really do cream highlights like that, because too much of cream base on the skin, it's going to easily break out and everything will just crease up and like that. So this is the Khalifa powder foundation, the powder palette, the white powder there, the translucent white powder. I'm going to be using that. So you want to make sure you blend where you want to highlight. You know, we are not doing cream highlight, so I'm going to be blending that part very well. You want to make sure that part is smooth. You use the person's shade of powder to set the way we normally set the highlight. Whenever we are using a cream contour, we are going to set her face also, so that the translucent powder we have a very good base to sit on properly and they settle on the skin. So after I'm done setting under her eyes, I'm going to be setting where I want to highlight, where I want to highlight. So, and my model here has smile lines. Want to make sure we eliminate all the smile lines on her face by making sure you blend properly. So we are going to be going in with the translucent powder. So can you see that? This is this is what I use it for actually. So when I'm doing a powder highlight, I use this translucent powder. So whenever you have a translucent powder with you, you don't have to worry. When you are not doing a cream highlight, you can do this. So I'm going to be using this to highlight her face. It's going to serve as my setting powder and is perfect, guys. So can you see this? I'm going to be setting her smile lines also. I don't want to use too much highlight on her forehead because so I'm going to be using the shade Contour on the eyeshadow on the powder palette to contour the side of her nose, her cheekbone, her cheeks, and so guys, this is a full powder contour, guys. This is a full powder and powder highlight and contour tutorial. So you guys don't need to do the cream highlight and be satisfied. You can also do the powder highlight and your work will be perfect, guys. You just have to keep practicing, and that's it. I'm going to be setting her whole face. So whenever you're setting the face, you're setting your highlight, you have to make sure it settles properly the normal way you do your setting. The only thing we are not doing here is we are not applying concealer, like the cream concealer under the eyes. So it's still the same process. So we are going to be moving on to the blush, because the eyes are already looking heavy. I'm going to be going very light on the blush using my Girls Night Out blush palette. I'm going to be applying the bronzer, the highlight. Sorry. So the highlighter I'll be using is the Get Gorgeous highlighter, my favorite highlighter, guys. This highlighter sits on the skin properly. I'll be applying it on her cheekbones, on her cupid bow, and then we move on to the lips. So I will be using I'm going to be using the Zaron shade in, is it this orange? shade in Burnt. This is a Zara lips Max Sheen lip liner lipstick. I'll be using the shade in Burnt, and then I'll be going in with the Hot Flame lipstick from Adventure Cosmetics. I'll be using that to do the lining of the outer part of her lips. So after I'm done, I'm going to be taking off the translucent powder. I'll be using the Lady V Powder Palette Cosmetics powder palette. I'm going to be taking off the highlighter, the translucent powder rather. Can you see how highlighted her face is? It's makeup. You will think I used a cream contour, a cream highlight, sorry. I am used to this contour thing. You think I used the cream highlight, and I did not use any cream concealer here. This is just pure translucent powder. I use translucent powder to highlight. So from now on, if you see that white powder inside your powder palette, use it please. You guys, your powder will finish and this translucent powder will be there. If you know your translucent powder have not been used, indicate down below. Let's know ourselves. So since when I discovered I can use this translucent powder like this, guys, it was a lifesaver. So as you can see, so I'm going to be setting her whole face with my Kiss Beauty setting spray. After it dries, then I'll move on to lining her eyes, and then boom. Guys, as you can see, my model started crying before we applied the mascara. Thank God it was before we do the lower mascara. She teared up. Whenever you have a situation like this, do not clean the tears. Do not use tissue. Do not touch it. Allow it to dry. If it dries up, when the tears dries up, you can now use powder to set that place. Shike now. Sometimes if it's too damaged, you just use a damp beauty blender and touch it. And then that's it for today, guys. If you love this makeup, please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Also don't forget to turn on your notification bell. Can you see it? Can you see the highlight? If you do love this video, don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys so much. This is Hadidi Makeovers once again. I'll see you guys on Thursday on how to tie this lace head tie. Bye.